Now this is Acts chapter 12, verses 18 through to 25. And you remember how the Lord had delivered Peter from the jail that Herod had locked him in, ready to kill him the next day. And he'd left, he'd gone to Mary's house, and then he'd gone somewhere else. We don't know where. Probably they didn't know either. And when day came, there was no small disturbance among the soldiers as to what could have become of Peter. And when Herod had searched for him and had not found him, he examined the guards and ordered that they be led away to execution. Then he went down from Judea to Caesarea and was spending time there. Now he was very angry with the people of Tyre and Sidon, and with one accord they came to him, and having won over Blastus, the king's chamberlain, they were asking for peace because their country was fed by the king's country. On an appointed day, Herod, having put on his royal apparel, took his seat on the rostrum and began delivering an address to them. The people kept crying out, "The voice of a god and not of a man." And immediately an angel of the Lord struck him because he didn't give God the glory, and he was eaten by worms and died. But the word of the Lord continued to grow and to be multiplied, and Barnabas and Saul returned to Jerusalem when they had fulfilled their mission, taking along with them John, who was also called Mark. So what an end to this story. The fact is that these poor soldiers, they couldn't find Peter. And as would have happened in those days, when, whether it's their own fault or not, if something happens under the soldiers' watch, they're executed. Or they're in fear of being executed, and that's what happened to these soldiers who were looking after Peter. And then Herod goes down to Caesarea, and in this place, the people are in so fear of him that he appears in a public display, and everyone's saying, "This is the voice of a god and not a man." And he received their praise, and immediately an angel of the Lord struck him because he did not give God the glory. And I guess that was his life. He didn't give God the glory, and he was eaten by worms and died. And if you read the stories of or the history of Josephus, he recounts this incident where Herod is struck down with an illness and his flesh is eaten by maggots and worms, and he finally dies. And then after this persecution where James is killed and Peter was put in prison, it says the word of the Lord continued to grow and be multiplied. And Barnabas and Saul, who'd been there in Jerusalem during this time of persecution, perhaps it was a kind of a foretaste or a kind of not a warning, but an understanding of what the price they would have had to pay to follow the Lord Jesus. They returned from Jerusalem having fulfilled their mission. And they took John, who was also called Mark. Remember, John Mark was the mother of Mary, who stayed in his house, who's the cousin of Barnabas. Barnabas took his cousin, John Mark, back with them to Antioch. Perhaps just like Barnabas had gone to Tarsus to bring Saul to teach the people in Antioch. Now he gathers John Mark with him to go up to Antioch. What a guy he was.